Hello, everybody. I'm Anthony along with Chris and Marco, and this is episode 49 of Hard Knock Hawks. This is the podcast where we talk about our favorite basketball team, the Atlanta Hawks, and sometimes other stuff in the NBA too. Before we start, we would like to say thank you for subscribing and listening to us as it has been 1 year of the show. Yes, it's our 1 year anniversary of the show. It's been great doing this. We've been having like lots of fun doing this. And once again, we would like to thank you for listening, subscribing, sharing this podcast, sharing spaces on Twitter and stuff. Uh, it's been great doing it with everyone, getting interactions and stuff. We have like lots of guests on here, and we can't wait to grow this show more and stuff for a year or two. Um, does anyone have like a few interesting thoughts before we continue on with the show for year two? Basically, I'll go on with you, Marco, first.
Um, it hit me weird that we been doing this a year. I didn't. Time flies when you be having fun, I guess. I ain't got too much to really say on it. Glad to be on here with you guys. We're missing our fourth right now, but we in the year we've added a new addition. Shout out Blake. Blake finally got our first article out there, so yeah, I'll go peep that as well. Hopefully we can continue to grow the podcast in this new season, and hopefully we have a funner time than last season. What about you, Chris?
No, I mean, just appreciate anyone listening, and it's been a fun year. Hopefully, there's more years to come.
Yeah, thank you all so much for listening, and thank you, Marco, Chris, and Leon's not here right now, but thank him for like being on here, like talking and stuff. It's really fun doing this, and we hope we can just continue to make this grow and stuff. But let's continue on with the show. We're gonna have a good bit of stuff to talk about today. We're gonna mainly be talking about the preseason and contract extensions that recently happened throughout the past few weeks. But let's start with the preseason first. The Hawks played 4 preseason games, 2 games against the Houston Rockets, um, 1 game against Miami Heat, and another one against the Grizzlies. There was a bunch of interesting stuff happening, a bunch of interesting lineups. I'm going to start with you, generally, Chris. What's your general thoughts on what happened with the Hawks during the preseason?
Generally speaking, I think the Hawks were fine. Preseason is kind of complicated in sports. Like, it's not just a win or lose, like 1-0 binary, like success, right? You're trying to work on things. You want to get your offense going. You got a new guy. You want to work through your stuff with him. You got young guys that want to work on things they've been adding in the off season. So I think what the Hawks got accomplished, it was good. I mean, you had first game where they worked through some KP stuff. Nah and Trae got to kind of do some things together in that one. Dyson got to work on some drives. Jalen got to handle the ball a little bit more. So I think they got to really kind of work through all their new packages, the install. So, yeah, I mean, from a process standpoint and everything they wanted to get through, I think they probably thought that was a success. For me, I'm just glad everybody was healthy. The boys got through the preseason, right? No one's hurt. Everyone is active, in shape, doing their thing. So yeah, it was successful from my standpoint. Um, yeah, I'm not gonna go too hard on preseason. The guys aren't even finishing games, right? So yeah, as far as I'm concerned, the game's over when the guys come out. We were in all those games when the starters were in until that Rockets game at the end where there's some backups playing real hard, trying to impress Ime, and the boys probably weren't as focused. Yeah, so I got to see KP score, Zach, Jalen, Dyson all did their thing. So yeah, success. What about you, Marco?
Yeah, I agree, man. Preseason, I don't really care for the hard on side of preseason. I think so more since we have new players. I was more so concerned at how they would like fit together. And Nikhil, Kennard, I feel like they've gotten pretty used to how fast we play, and they kind of already fit in because that's what Quinn's system. Those are two system players. Like Kennard being a movement shooter, and Nikhil actually surprised me a little bit. I didn't know he had like a mini bag like that. So it was nice to see that he had more of an offensive game than I was like originally projecting him, but I still have him in that 3-and-D archetype. KP had some good runs with us too. I think KP is getting used to playing with a faster paced offense, or Quinn has adjusted to get him to fit into our style of offense a
I
bit
thought it
more.
was interesting that you could tell like when KP was on the floor, like they did play slower, but they still try to keep up the pace despite that.
Yeah. They still tried to make sure they still played their brand of basketball while trying to get KP out there. And the funniest part about preseason is you can tell the guys aren't used to playing with that much space. They had
Yeah.
way too much. They had
Yeah.
way too much spacing, and a lot of them really just didn't know what to do because a lot of them were just too used to driving, getting that help than passing it. But like a lot of times you've seen guys pass up open layups just because they're just not used to the lane being at free. But I think overall preseason was nice, even from our reserves. I've been a big fan of Toppin for a minute. Wouldn't be too mad if they just decided to convert him at one point, or that's probably off the table now with the new Keaton conversion. But I've been a fan of Keaton. Keaton was nice. I think Ricochet actually showed me a lot too. He's not a reserve, but think I was actually impressed with what he was doing. He was way more confident with the ball in his hand. He looks like an actual NBA player now, so that's always a positive sign. So I think preseason was pretty cool, man. Excited for this team. First game Wednesday, so we'll be excited to see how our starters really play a full 48 minutes of basketball.
Yeah, I thought preseason was really interesting. I thought it was just interesting to see how like Porzingis, Kel Alexander Walker, and Kennard played. And I thought one of the main interesting things to see was you saw players like Nickel, like he was like really jacking up the shots a lot from three. Like, even if they weren't hitting, that was just something that you could just tell that was really apparent. Like even if he wasn't open, he was just gonna launch it no matter what. And that is just something that I think Quinn was just gonna love no matter what. And I think his defense was also just apparent as well with it. Also, I was him as like the guy that was leading the backup unit. I thought he was actually really good as well. I thought it would be like as good as I thought it would be initially, but him and Kennard together like that. In some of the games, I think it was like either the Grizzlies game or the Heat game. Someone can correct me if I'm wrong, but like I thought he did a really good job, like being basically like the point guard for that second unit, basically. Porzingis, it took a while for him to catch up, basically, because the first few games he was like slow, but over time he was slowly became the guy that people thought he was going to be, especially by his last preseason game. He started like shooting better from three and protecting the rim a lot better. Leon, what's your thoughts generally about preseason sets? You're in here now.
My thoughts about preseason are that
Yeah.
the players who did played fine for the most part. I think that the new players are taking time to gel, and that's just how it's going to be sometimes. We do play a system that is different a little bit than guys like what Nikhil is used to in the more recent history for him. Um, it's going to take some time for him to gel with his teammates. I think that getting to the rim is something that he can excel at off the catch, but when he gets to the middle of the floor and is forced to make decisions, those are the kind of reps that are going to look a little rough in the beginning, especially since he missed a couple of games during preseason. I think Kennard will be fine in that aspect, but I think Trae and KP, it's just going to get better and better between those two as time goes on. They're kind of made for each other. As Trae is a guy who can get KP the ball wherever he wants it, whether that be at the nail, at the rim, at the 3-point line, and he can create that space for Trae to, put more pressure on the rim or get clearer pressure to the rim and feed the shooters and the cutters that we've added in free agency and through the years, and even in the draft with Zach and Jalen on the wing. So I think preseason was a success. Zach showed us a little bit. I think we have a very solid third center, and in N'Faly Dante, who at least is going to clean up the boards. I think one of the biggest issues very late in the season when we were without Clint Capella is we could not finish defensive possessions with rebounds. There was a lot of second chance points for other teams and the like. I think that'll be something that, with the added size across the roster, even with, Moge coming back, having N'Faly Dante, obviously Kristaps, Jalen, probably one of the better power forward rebounders in the league. So preseason was good. I'm very excited to see what we do this season.
Now, I do want to ask you guys, and I'll just start with you, Marco. Out of all the players you saw during preseason, who are the guys that mainly impressed you the most during preseason?
Oh man, I don't know. I think, like I said, Nikhil was the one that kind of shook me because I didn't really expect him to have an actual game like that. I don't know. I just didn't expect him to come out there and just start like taking people off the drive and doing all this and that the third. I just didn't expect to see that from him. Outside of Nikhil, I think I got to go back to Zach because I didn't know how to project Zach. I still don't know how to really get to where Zach is as where he'll be in the offense role wise. All I care for him right now is making shots, finish the plays. That's all I really care. But he's actually he impressed me a lot. Especially he looked way more confident with the ball in his hand, no hesitation on shots. Looked way stronger driving to the hole. That left hand is still good. So, I think those two really shocked me, and I think they'll contribute a lot to us really trying to win out there. Like I said, we need people that'll finish the plays. If Trae's kicking it to you to the corner, Jalen's kicking it to you to the wing, I need you to finish that three, and then that's what all I really need from those. But those two I was very impressed with. What about you, Leon? What about you, Chris?
Matas Buzelis was really impressive this preseason. Did you mean Hawks exclusively or just anyone?
I mainly meant Hawks.
Okay.
Okay.
No, I mean Matas looked really
Shout
good.
out Matas.
Oh my God. Okay.
No, I mean KP looked legitimately 7-3. That was awesome. I mean, for me, preseason, it's nice they're getting in the reps. I mean, the guys were getting shots up. I think it was cool to see KP launching for sure. And yeah, I mean his size, I think what that does for us is big. And we got to see him get a few buckets. So yeah, I'll go with KP. I think that's going to be probably the biggest change to our team. So it was nice to see him get through preseason healthy. Played every game they let him play. So yeah, that's what's up.
Who I can't even say. Who do you think impressed you, Leon? It could just be one person, or it could be like a group of people.
Who impressed me the most during preseason on our team? Probably Jalen. I would say Jalen. I think that he's made a concerted effort to like really, really get to the rim. And we saw that a little bit during preseason last year, but I think he's more comfortable. He's more comfortable now. And bringing the ball up the floor, obviously against the Grizzlies, you saw that controlled spin through traffic, still got to the rim. A lot of the time last season when he made a first move, that was the only move. If you got to him early enough to make him make a make a move at the nail, that shot was going up from maybe 7 feet instead of 2 or 3 feet, or 0. So that's really the biggest thing. I think, like we always said, it was always he could get to the rim in a straight line, but when he meets deterrence early, can he still find a path to it? And he did a little bit of that. He showed that he could do a little bit more of that during the preseason. And I think we're going to need that. I think he got 6 shots at the rim last season, or he either made 6 or attempted 6. He got to the rim a lot, but he needs to get to like 7 or 8. Like if he can get 7 or 8 shots at the rim, that's what's gonna give him the opportunity to really collapse defenses, and just get easy shots at the rim. And he's gonna create easy shots at the rim for others as well. So that's what I was most impressed with, and I hope that it carries over.
For me, I was gonna say if I just had to name one player other than Jalen, it would probably either be Onyeka. I thought Onyeka had a really, really good preseason. I thought his defense was like really good during preseason, like throughout the whole time. Like generally, like during the whole time, during the when he was out there with the second unit, I thought he just did a really good job, like basically anchoring the whole thing. And like his 3 ball, I think has improved a lot throughout his whole time, like actually attempting it. So I thought he's making like impressive like strides throughout his career, like improving his shooting. I thought it was really interesting as well that Snyder decided to start him at the 4 during the last preseason game. I don't think it worked as well as I envisioned, honestly, but I thought it was okay. What else I was gonna say? But overall, I thought Onyeka had like a really good preseason. And for like other honorable mentions for me personally, I was gonna say N'Faly Dante's defense is really, really good. Like that, he's a really great defender. There was like one possession where he nearly just got one guy like out bounds from the baseline, and I'm just like, this guy, if he can just figure it out on offense, he's gonna be an incredible player. But that's why he's on a 2-way contract right now. So I think the Hawks did like a really good job like signing some of these players, because depending on how they develop them, they can like honestly potentially turn out to be like really good young pieces for the future. So we'll see what happens. What I was gonna ask is also, were there any potential problems that you could see like with the team in the future that you saw so far during preseason? And I'll start with you, Chris.
I mean, it's tough to say at this point because teams aren't really game planning, but at this point, you really just want to see Kristaps probably rebound at a high level, and the way he's moving defensively. I think the Hawks have him doing some new things that he's not used to doing defensively, as more of a pure anchor rim protector type. I think they're going to have him helping on the perimeter some. I think he's getting used to the defensive rotation. So I think that would be something to pay attention to early on. The team really trying to gel defensively and play connected. As the center, he's like as important as can be defensively, but when you're coming into a new group, you really have to kind of try to settle in with what they're doing and understand like how they're all moving. So I think Kristaps in general, maybe on both ends, really how they kind of get him going. I think you mentioned earlier that they were playing a little slow with him, which I mean, I think it might have just been extremely deliberate. Hopefully, when they are playing more free, they can get to his stuff kind of organically. But yeah, I do think it was obvious they were trying to like play through him. And so I think integrating him and the speed at which they can kind of get that going at the beginning of the season really kind of determines when the wins might start to stack up, right? Because you have some really tough games right off the bat. So I think it's going to be trial by fire as they get all their KP lineups kind of settled. So yeah, that'll be something to watch.
What you say, Leon?
I would say to watch like the big three that we have created at this point with Trae Young, Kristaps Porzingis, and Jalen Johnson is how those 2-man lineups shake out as the season progresses. Can Jalen and Kristaps produce positive minutes without Trae Young being the main guy setting them up? Can Jalen and Trae produce good offense and good enough defense when Kristaps is off the floor, right? And then obviously with with Trae and Kristaps, can the Hawks rebound at a level that at a level, and no Jalen, can those lineups rebound at a level that's not disastrous defensively? So it'll be interesting to see how that all shakes out. I think that they've found a way to really make it so that they survive. I think those 2-man lineups. I think when all three of those guys are on the floor, and they should all three be on the floor most of the time in the most important minutes of the game. I always say first 5, last 5, middle 10. So they can close and open halves well, and same thing with games. Another thing, I really think that just one thing. I really think that those Luke Dyson lineups could be really fun because one of them is such a great slasher and one of them is such a great shooter. And I think any front court configuration probably will really work with that. So really just watching how these lineups that end up playing extended minutes together within this rotation can really spur us, like in these middle and late third quarters where we tend to lose games a lot, I would say, in the past few years. Marco, what are you most looking forward to monitoring throughout this 25-26 Atlanta Hawks NBA season?
I think I'm going to monitor Jalen the most. So far, I've liked what I have seen from our new and improved shoulder, Jalen. He's more aggressive now, but I still think he has that. Think he still has that switch where he'll start aggressive, then he just turns that off, and now he's just like playing passive. So just seeing him really trying to become a real second option, trying to see him get in that role. And him just leading the bench, because Trae is most likely always going to be the first one to go to the bench just to sit, because he's going to have to come in and carry that second half of the bench minutes. So can Jalen like really keep up the intensity with the offense coming off the bench? Can he keep that pressure on the rim to make teams like adjust to that? Can you make it easier for your teammates? Blah blah blah. So I think Jalen is like just somebody I'm monitoring as a one, because I can't be PB&J without the J. So and KP, I think KP slowly will come along. Like I said, we are the fastest team he's played with in terms of pace. I think that's just something that he'll just learn with, because he can run. We've seen it in Eurobasket this summer. He can easily get out there and pace. So I think it's just something he'll adjust to. And I think it's also something that Quinn will just eventually adjust to if need be on certain sets or whatever. But so far, I think those are just the only two I'm concerned of. Well, not concerned. We'll just be monitoring as the season progresses and how it, develops as we move forward.
For me, it's really just can this team get rebounds without Jalen Johnson? And Leon, you mentioned it, like without having lineups with Trae and Porzingis on the floor together. But my main thing is that if Jalen's not on the floor, are they able to get like rebounds? And that just like really concerns me. I mean, a part of me feels like that I'm being like way too reactionary after seeing one of the Rockets preseason games because we just had like certain lineups where we just had like really hard times rebounding, and the Rockets play like such large lineups and they're like such a big team. But at the same time, it's like this could get like really ugly really fast depending on like what teams we're facing, like the Magic or maybe the Rockets. Like, I don't know. I don't think it'll be like super bad, but it's just something for me to like watch and to just see what happens. And it really just depends on whether or not like Zach actually decides to like grab rebounds for like game for a game, or maybe if like Porzingis or Quinn decides to play double big or something. Like, I am like legitimately worried about the rebounding. Initially, I was thinking it was gonna be okay, but now I'm like actually seeing it. I'm more worried than I initially was at first.
I thought the Hawks did pretty good rebounding in preseason. I mean, there was a couple chance balls that you could have got.
It was like like I said, it may have just been me just being really reactionary because of
that's
a
what
few
you do
games.
best, man.
Okay, whatever. That's awesome.
I think that we played some teams. I think outside of the first game against the almost full Rockets, that's a team that's probably gonna out rebound most of the teams that they play. It's probably going to be one of the better rebounding teams, along with the Clippers, like in the NBA. So, with that being said, I don't too much worry about it, even though I did earlier. Like now that I can't say that I know for sure. Based on what we've seen in the preseason, it seems like Kristaps and Onyeka are going to be playing minutes together, and they're trying to expedite the process of getting those guys prepared to play with one another.
Yeah, I like that. I think they should do that 100%.
Right. Yeah, and that's going to be big on the rebounding front. And if the question is, how do the Hawks rebound with Jalen Johnson off the floor? The answer kind of is that double big lineup with Onyeka and Kristaps in it. So, I think you like you saw the last Rockets game. They really just tried to get Kristaps ready, and Kristaps had 13 rebounds in that game. So play well. I think they'll be. I think it is something to monitor, though. I agree with you on that.
Yeah, it could just be being like very reactionary, I guess, because of a few preseason games, but we'll just see like throughout the season how they rebound. But I do want to actually discuss something else now. It's gonna be like our contract extensions, which are the big headlines throughout the day. The first few contract extensions I do want to talk about are the smaller ones. It's with Caleb Houston and Keenan Wallace. Keenan Wallace signed a standard NBA contract with the Hawks. He was from a regular two-way to a standard contract, and Caleb Houston, who signed an Exhibit 10 contract, he signed a two-way contract with the Atlanta Hawks today. So, what are your guys' thoughts on that generally? So, I'm going to start with you, Leon.
I think it was an interesting move. I think the main idea is Keaton's kind of worked his way to earn the coach's trust, and that's the person that they'll trust and that they want to have available if Trae is out for some time. Maybe they don't believe in the collective ball handling of the other guys for a major Trae Young injury. I probably would have expected them to give this contract to Jacob Toppin.
Yeah,
but
that's what I thought too.
They didn't, and they put Caleb Houston on the next two-way, which is fine. So I actually think that he's given us good scoring outputs in the past as a guy who could just do a little bit of everything. And I think the main thing you want, because you're probably not going to get a player that makes $200 million in a season that's going to approximate what Trae Young is going to give you on the offensive end. So you at least want to get that back on defense. And he's so disruptive that I think Auntie said to himself, with him on the floor with the rest of those guys that Trae would have been playing with, the Kennards, the Nikhil Alexander-Walkers, and the Dyson Daniels in the guard room, that's probably the best thing to have for a full season. And I can't argue with that. What about you, Marco?
I get why they gave Keaton the standard contract, because he's familiar with the program. He's been around. He plays defense. Training staff has had their hands all over him. He's he's familiar with everything. So in case Bearing, knock on wood, a real Trae injury or just some time or just extra Trae rest, I guess. Keaton is there. Like I said, he's familiar with everything, so it made sense to give him the contract. Wasn't really too impressed with him in preseason. I think he just reverted back to the Keaton we originally knew instead of the Keaton we would like to see. But other than that, Caleb, I don't really have any thoughts on Caleb. Wasn't the biggest fan of Caleb. Two-way contract is whatever. He's only going to play in case we just, are just that hurt. Hopefully, we're due for a healthy season. So hopefully he never has to play. I don't know what they really want from Caleb. Don't know if they plan on developing him. That's why they wanted him on the two-way, whatever. But wing depth is wing depth at the end of the day, I guess. He may not be good wings, but you can't always go to touchdown or American Deli. So, and the big one, Dyson. Are we talking about Dyson yet, or that's a whole different thing?
I want to hear Chris's thoughts on these small contracts that we'll move on to Dyson. What's your thoughts?
I mean, Chris doesn't really have real thoughts about guys.
Oh my God!
But I mean, it's a comfortability thing when you're talking about the 11th through 15th dudes on a roster. Like the team knows Keaton. He's been around. They trust Keaton. They like Keaton. Like dudes at that end of the bench, man, it's almost just like a favor or like a personality hire at work. Like we're not putting a whole lot on Keaton. If it's come down to him getting a bunch of minutes, we cooked anyway. They just really want to have a guy down. Like we're missing 2 first-round picks completely out of the NBA. So you got to have some dudes on your roster. And I think Keaton is a guy that they trust. They know what he will do in a game. They know they don't have to worry about him going off script, and whatever script he got, he know the lines. And Caleb hit some shots. I mean, this is NBA. He's like 6'8", and he can shoot. He had a game winner in preseason. So
yeah,
I see them keeping them around. And I think at this point, the Hawks are kind of just looking for an NBA player they can add to the group if possible. They got that open roster spot. I think those guys will just kind of be down there. And if they can add a real NBA player in front of them, they will. I think Beat's going to be playing ahead of them. But it is good to see Keaton, like his hard work pay off. I think some of that is like institutional. The Hawks want their players to see that, like, if you do the right things and be here and You know what I'm saying? Like, earn our trust, you will be rewarded. So some of that is some of that's like, you know, the carrot versus the stick. And I think Keaton got a little payoff. And yeah, Caleb can shoot. So yeah, that's what's up. If they have to play much, we're in trouble. So.
I think one of the biggest things that he showed in the preseason, now that I look at it, is he had 21 assists to 3 turnovers. And I think Quinn Snyder valued that. Like, even though he didn't hit shots that well, very well at all, honestly, in the preseason, we've seen him make shots, and I don't think they worry about him hitting shots in the 10 minutes he's going to play a game probably this season. I think they just care about him not turning the ball over. I think one thing is really interesting is the Hawks have rostered a lot of these I don't turn the ball over players, even if they're not super high usage guys. Like Zach doesn't turn the ball over a lot. They trust Keaton now that he doesn't turn the ball over a lot. Caleb Houston, even though obviously he does not pass the ball very much at all, he also doesn't turn the ball over a lot. And on the flip side, they get guys that really do create turnovers defensively, and the Dyson Daniels and Keaton Wallace. I think turnover economy is something that the Hawks have embraced in the last couple of years, and they really do worry about that turnover margin. They want to get out and run, and obviously they need to do a better job this year in converting on some of those looks. But with Jalen coming back, Richard being a little bit stronger, Dyson's improved confidence and play, guys like Nikhil, even Kristaps, and I do wonder when the NBA tracks a possession as the transition's over. Like, I wonder what constitutes transition being over, because I think like Kristaps is going to feast in late transition, getting to the rim, and obviously hitting transition trailer threes. But Keaton just showed that he got with the program at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Keaton got with the program, and the Hawks said, all right, we haven't found anything else that we like, and we kind of sort of need another guard. And just in case Trae Young misses time. And he didn't turn the ball over in preseason, so I'm not mad at it.
It's a guy that's been in your system that if you do have a day off, you can play him and you don't have to worry about what he's doing out on the floor. And that matters a lot for a professional coach, man. Trust is big.
Yeah.
What I was going to say. Basically, you guys more or less say what I was going to say. I am kind of worried slightly about the guard depth if after like our main 8, basically, but if we have to play like Veet or Keaton, if like let's say Keaton isn't like really making shots, but you know, like you said, Leon, like he had like 7 assists and 0 turnover, so I think his playmaking is gonna be fine. And if he has to like, you know, play for like 10 minutes or so, I don't think it's gonna be like so bad to where it's gonna be like.
And he's just not gonna kill you on the flip side. Like he's just not like he's going to raise the floor of whatever defensive lineup he's on.
Yeah. So.
And the offense comes and goes. I agree. But as long as with everything, I think the messaging on a lot of the apps has been that the Hawks really need Trae Young to be like even decent on offense. Might change a little bit this year because of the other offensive talent that they've got. That being Kennard and Kristaps, and Jalen Johnson growing as an initiator, and Zachary Riche spacing the floor, and what the Hawks are going to be able to do in transition when Trae is off the floor. So I think that's kind of what we've always been been attempting to trend towards, what we've always wanted to see from this organization is, can you survive / win the Trae Young minutes? And like you saw with DeJounte here, it flipped where you were decent, Hawks were decent in the non-Trae minutes, but a lot of the times when Trae and DeJounte were on the floor together, that wasn't productive. The on-off numbers didn't like that pairing at all. It was I believe D. For three, I can't remember. I think it was when we were about to trade DeJounte Murray, but they were one of the worst. They had one of the worst on-off numbers of a All-Star pairing ever.
Yeah, worst
Right.
All-Star pairing in like 25 years.
Yeah. So now you've got these symbiotic relationships that we talked about before, and the Hawks have understood the past couple of years the importance, and Quinn Snyder, Ryan Schmidt, and the entire staff, they understand the importance of developing guys at the end of the bench, because those guys might end up being your 10th man. And a lot of the way the league is now, because the league is so talent rich, it's not one of those things where in the middle of the season, in funny season, like we like to call it, in February and March, you're gonna need guys that know they can at least do what you're asking of them. At least know what you're asking of them. And Keaton, at the very least, it can execute that, whether he's making shots or not. So good pickup overall. I'm not mad at it. Because I remember last year, we keep saying, well, what are we going to do when Keaton's games run out? What are we going to do? What are the Hawks going to do when Keaton's games run out?
Yeah.
So now you won't be asking yourself that.
No, to that point, I mean, big thing last year, we had so many people coming into the season that we knew we were going to have to like manage injury-wise. And that is why, like I talked earlier about, it was so good to have a preseason where the whole team isn't on the training table and he's drained.
Onyeka's healthy, Jalen's healthy, everyone's here.
Hamstrings. You can't even get people in shape when they're hurt, so you're not going to start well in the season. So it was good just to finally be healthy. I think Luke and are guys that you're not really worried about them missing a bunch of games. So your guard rotation, I mean, you got Trae, who's always healthy, and Dyson, who was healthy last year, is really young, and you're not really worried about him getting injured. You got guards that you can really depend on. So hopefully Keaton is just waving a towel, and we don't have to go past beat in terms of the reserve. I think they intentionally kind of have beat in that 1 through 3, where whenever they need him, they just throw him out there for a few minutes. And even though Keaton played before him in preseason, I don't take much from that. I still think it's Beat's job as the 9th guy, and Quinn's like firm hard 8. But knowing Keaton is that like 10th guy, I think probably gives Quinn a little bit of a piece.
Honestly, I think the 9th guy is probably gonna be Mo, if you're asking me. If they do like a 9-man, but
if it isn't Mo and it is another guard / wing, consistently, if it's like that every night and Mo's just not in the rotation really at all, and Mo's 10 instead of 9, that's going to be interesting throughout the season. I wonder what that looks like when one of the bigs are out. Who gets that spot? Because I don't want to see a lot of Zach at the 4, especially against like competing teams, because everybody is going double big. A lot of the teams in the NBA are going double big and embracing that. So
no Zach at the 4. I would rather see Asa just start to get some playing time sooner than not, if that's the case. But hopefully it's just Jalen, KP, and Zach or Double O playing all those minutes. But
yeah, that's the hope, of course.
It would be nice to get a combo forward though. Nice big wide body, thick boy that can handle a pounding.
But let's go ahead and talk about this extension that I know everyone's been waiting for. What do you want to say, Dice? I know, Chris, I'm gonna let you start first because you actually won a bet today about it. Dyson Daniels got extended for 4 years, $100 million. What's your thoughts, Chris? This is he's here for 4 years.
Yeah, I mean, for me, when Dyson first came over, I'm trying to figure out like how much this extension is going to be. And before the season, I remember Glenn had a tweet like asking people how much they thought Dyson was going to score. We all had like really modest expectations. I don't think anyone was like expecting too much from Dyson. So the fact that he like went out and actually did give you solid 14 and 20, I think his average when Trae's not on is like over 18. Not playing. So he was able just to give you way more offense than I think anyone expected. So the deal I was hoping for was going to be in the Onyeka range when we first got him, and then by February we're looking at $100 million at least, right? The money was
Yeah.
He was playing really well, like the leader, like obviously he won MIP. We knew he was going to be a depoy guy, so Dyson really just blew past all my expectations. So when it came to the valuation for as a MIP and like second place depoy, I really had him valued similarly to a guy like Nas Reed, who's like a sixth man. It's like another super starter type who isn't a top 3 option truly on your team, but he's like almost a star. So it's a really complicated range, like right outside of that $30 million range, because if you're making more than Jalen, typically on a team, you're one of the premier players and you're expected to give some offense. So I thought it was important for the Hawks to get him on a good number. I was thinking anywhere from that 20 to 25 would be a big win for the team. You don't have to like try to force any extra usage on Dyson to rationalize the number, right? He can just kind of play his game. If he's at 10 in a game, it's fine because he'll be 15, 18 later. You don't have to really – he doesn't have to just average 18 points per game next year to make that number feel good. So I was really happy that Ansi got him on a good deal. It's been multiple good deals in a row for the Hawks in terms of contracts. Demon Ansi's doing his thing, and Dyson, that was great business. I said really early on, once it was obvious that Dyson was going to get paid, I'm like, this kid's 22 years old, man. I know when I'm 22 years old, if somebody offered me $100 million, I don't know if I could say no matter how much I thought I was worth. Like, that is so much money. And you see guys play themselves out of contracts all the time in the NBA. There's the business of basketball. This team is going to have to come up with a plan, right? And if you're not in it, they will find someone to fill that role. So you want to put yourself in the plans as soon as possible. Dyson did that. He's going to be on the floor. He's going to be able to do his thing. I was excited. I'm glad we got this deal done. And as for the bet, I think I made it. I make so many bets with Matt that I really have no clue. I know I'm a bunch of money on him. I don't even really check. I think that's why he don't bring it up with me no more.
Oh my God!
Yeah, I was really excited to see Dyson get paid, because Dyson's game is about sacrificing for the team and just doing whatever we need that night. So I didn't need him trying to hunt a bunch of 20-point games so that he could be like, see, I'm worth 35, right? So yeah, I'm glad we got that handled. Leon. Leon.
I think go ahead, Marco. I think Leon's doing something.
Yeah, man. Shout out Onzi. You know, you got Dyson on the deal. You can go back through me in the group chat and me on the timeline. I've pretty much said I've always had Dyson at that $25 million range. I've always said if they want to do 5-year, you throw him the JC deal, the 125.5. I feel like that's a good value. And now that you got him at 25, you know, that's good value. That's only 13% of the cap moving forward. We don't know the full details of it yet, so we don't know if it's 20, 25 flat or if it's like descending or going up, et cetera, et cetera. So if it's 25 flat, that's even better because that 13% just goes down. So, you know, shout out to the Hawks for, you know, standing firm. Brad even brought it up, you know, from Locked on Hawks. He even brought it up that the Hawks weren't going to 30. They were firm and not going over 28 million. So shout out, for us staying firm, because you don't want Dyson to go out there and potentially have a real offensive breakout. Now you're paying him more than 30 because he's proved that he can be a real two-way player. And that would have been actually bad for us because there's a few teams that could have thrown him a real contract, and I don't think Hawks would have matched that.
Yeah. And honestly, I was legitimately really scared if it went to like rookie free agency just because of that. Because like there will have been some teams or somebody that would have probably just would have found the money. Like the Nets could have found the money. The Lakers. The Lakers would have found
Yeah,
something.
Wizards are projected to have at least like 90 million
Wizards.
free
I mean, I don't know,
next
man.
year.
The Wizards do whatever they want. Like,
I mean,
it's
but
weird.
it's like Chris said, a team comes at you and they throw you a big contract at 22 years old. You're not going to deny that contract so much.
Yeah.
And Wizards, they don't really, like I said,
especially with how rookie free agency can just completely screw over people. Like, sometimes you just gotta take the money, take the financial security, right?
Yeah, so like I said, shout out to the Hawks for standing firm and staying where they at on it. Nice to have Dyson for another 4 years. It's just like Chris said, Dyson is a guy that go out and sacrifice for the team. He does a lot. He does our hustle plays. He has real offensive upside. Getting 14, coming from 5 points to 14 points a game. That's a big jump. No matter how you try to play it, no matter how that Muppet on Twitter tries to downplay it.
Oh my God, why are you even?
That's just how Dyson is the core. So I'm excited. We got him locked down. I personally didn't have any doubts that deal wasn't going to get done, because Hawks might have been threatening to have been like, yeah, we can take the restricted free agency. Realistically, you didn't want that to happen because you never know what you're going to expect with that, just him breaking out or whatever. So
yeah, that's true.
But yeah, like I said, appreciate the deal. Honestly, Hawks are very geared to make a big signing or a big trade if they really wanted to in the future. I think we're like, if projections are right, we're like 60 million under the first apron next season. So something like that. I could have read it wrong. Grant will bring it up eventually again. But yeah. Now that Leon's back, what about you, buddy?
About Dyson?
Yeah.
Didn't I already say? I didn't say.
No, I don't think you did.
No,
yet.
you glitched out.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
I did.
out.
Yeah, Dyson Daniels, man. 20 million AAV. I guess I've talked about it so much today. I forgot I didn't say it on here. 25 million AAV. If you look at it by percentage of the cap, it's about the same as DeAndre Hunter contract. I feel pretty good about that. A lot of people
you're
were
serious
harping
about
over
that?
percentage of the cap is Dion.
Dang, that's crazy.
About
that's
yeah,
good
so
value.
it'll be about the same. It might be a hair more. It might be a hair more, but it's terms is like with the way the cap's going up, that's going to be about 15-16% of the cap for
13.
most of the years of the contract. 13? Oh, yeah, then less than like under the tax or the cap. The tax or the cap?
Under the cap is only 13% of the
That's
whole thing.
crazy. That's pretty good.
We only got one large contract.
Yeah, right now on the books is Jalen. Or are you talking about Trae?
I'll talk about Trae because Jalen is under market average. Is under market value too.
Okay. Well, yeah. I mean, obviously he's got an opportunity to grow in his role. I think that one of the biggest things with the security that he now has with this contract is I hope that he stops worrying about letting it fly from three. And I think that'll really be a big for him in that the offensive situation that he left in New Orleans is a lot different than the one he has here in Atlanta, playing for the Hawks. So, they really stress that when you're open, they want him to let it fly. So hopefully, and he'll stop worrying about
possibly missing those shots and just throwing them up now that he's signed a 4-year, $100 million contract. So he knows he can work on that, and the team showed that vote of confidence in starting him and paying him. Um, so he'll be able to hit the market at 26. He'll be in his prime. Just starting for that big payday. He'll get one good contract for all his prime, and that's the key about these young players is these young players when they come into the league at 18 or 19, when they hit that second contract, that's if they're young enough, you're getting that's the growth contract. You want them to grow between the ages of 22 and 25, 26, and then you want to let those next 3 or 4 or 5 years be their prime. So that's the benefit of a guy getting to the league at 18. That second contract will give you an opportunity to grow and make some amazing life-changing money, which is $100 million in the case of Dyson Daniels. And like I said, that would be 153 million AUD, Australian dollars. So he's really making bank back home. Uh, so um, yeah, yeah. I think operationally, obviously, 13% of the cap is a great number to have a guy who has some has offensive value. It's not like Dyson doesn't have offensive value just because he's not a very good 3-point shooter at the moment. As a slasher, as a cutter. And one thing I'm really looking forward to with him is one thing I'm just looking to monitor throughout the season really is Kristaps to Dyson assists because in my mind, well, okay, in these pick and pop situations with Trae Young and Kristaps, when Kristaps get the ball at the top, I can see a lot of times like, oh, they're going to be helping off of Dyson. Dyson's in that slot. Well, if Dyson, so what I'm seeing is he should have a lot of slot cut opportunities where the defender comes right off of him and he just darts to the rim straight off of it, and that'll be a December thing. You probably won't see that week 1. But those kind of just guys getting to the middle of the floor at will, uninhibited, with the movement of the ball, not just driving, with it is gonna be big for guys who excel at finishing at the rim, whereas Dyson is a very good guard finisher. Um, so 25 million AAV for the Great Barrier Thief. I thought 25 was probably a really good number as well. I can't remember. I think I fluctuated, but I thought 22 would have been good. I felt like anything under 25 was probably just that was probably the number where it started to get a little funky. But a lot of people were saying should have got the Jalen Suggs contract. Didn't get that contract, but he played well. He played well in his opportunity, and he's gonna have the opportunity to improve. And that's really the big thing, and that's what this organization has really been all about is and getting these young guys in here with skill sets and improving upon them.
Yeah, I basically agree with what everyone basically said here. I This contract is like the perfect opportunity, like what you said, Leon, for him to just expand and see what like Dyson can like really grow into. I want to see like Dyson expand his like point guard skills potentially, like his 3-point shooting. Like this, I really just want him to just basically become more than just like an average or slightly below average like offensive player mainly right now, right? Because I think we all know like he's obviously a great defensive player. Like we seen it last year. Last year he was second defensive player of the year. But I think honestly he should have won defensive player of the year last year. If he wasn't, if it wasn't for the fact that the Cavs were the first seed and if we were like 6th seed or something, he probably would have got it. But it is what it is. But I think having that like some like steps into like becoming like a better offensive player is just gonna be huge for his growth, and hopefully like the Hawks can be able to like contribute to that. But when that Shams notification popped up, I was honestly surprised about that because I thought he was gonna get like way more. I thought honestly he was gonna get maybe like 28 million a year or something like that. But if it was me personally, I thought the most he was probably gonna get. I was gonna offer him personally if I was Onsi was 25 million a year at most. But that's literally what he got. It seems like if that was the contract. So I think and Onsi, like everyone else has been saying, has been doing like an amazing job, like just negotiating these contracts so far. So I'm just honestly impressed with how everything's been going so far with this front office regime. So, but I do want to talk about one final contract that was not actually extended, and this is gonna be the last little topic we're gonna do today. And so a few days ago, sources told Fred Katz, the senior writer of the Athletic, that Trae Young will not sign an extension with the Atlanta Hawks. That happened a few days ago. So let's just start with you, Marco. What's your general thoughts on this? And do you think this story could like potentially affect anything that could happen during the season or potentially any outcomes throughout the season?
One Hawks had Hawks had no real deadline to extend Trae. You can extend him throughout the whole season. It doesn't matter. I know media is going to twist it how they want. They're always going to twist the narrative around Trae. That just is how it's been since he's been a Hawk. So that's just how it goes. I'm not really worried about it, to be fair, because he's not good. You still got another year of trade. Nobody's leaving 48 million actually dollars on the table. And that player option. It also leaves you. I mean, he just waits till next season. He can get some more money, and you can discuss a more lucrative contract in the end goal. And also again, it sets you up to, like I said earlier, big name hunt, or if you really just want to add large on the margins, like maybe get another guy that can just come in and do whatever. It helps more with setting up, his contract. Like, hey, we want to keep this guy, so Trae, can we work this out? I don't expect Trae to get a max. I know that might just seem a little crazy or whatever. I don't expect him to get the max just because of how current contract projections, and you really don't know what you have with the team yet, and blah blah blah, blase blase. So whatever. I do think he will get a little bit under it, probably like what 4 or 5 million less than what it is, just to keep that flexibility. Whatever. I'm of course team pay Trae. We wouldn't be have a good Jalen. We wouldn't have a KP. We wouldn't have a Nikhil. We wouldn't have any of this without him, because he's played a role in a lot of those people. We wouldn't be relevant past 2021 if it wasn't for Trae. You lose Trae, what do we got? We're back to I'm not gonna get too dramatic, but we're back to like 2014 hoops, man. And so I'm team pay Trae. I'm not worried about it. They'll get a deal done. It's whatever. What about you, Chris?
Yeah, I mean, I'm supporting of paying Trae Young. I think this is a team that was built around him, and everyone here is like kind of been picked or brought here to play with him. They like built it from zero, basically. He was the catalyst, right? And now everything that's been placed, it's around him, and he's the center of the universe for Atlanta. And I think when you pay Dyson Daniels, you're kind of signaling that you want to keep Trae Young for at least a few more years. Their pairing is so perfect. Though I do think Dyson is the type of guy you want next to pretty much every star. Even the big guys like Giannis would love to have Dyson play defense for him and passing to him. But I think for Trae, it makes sense just to try to get as much money as you can get. The Hawks are going to try to get him to take a little bit less if they can. I've kind of talked a lot on this about Twitter. It's about coming to him with a plan, right? I think when you're a player in Trae's like position where you are in this organization, right? This is like basically your business. It's your organization. I don't know if Tony's the CEO, Trae's like the president, and there's he's taking on the leadership roles. He's like doing all the things that you want your star to do as he gets older, and I think it makes sense for him to want to get paid the amount of money that he wants. If you look at the guys that are making upwards over $45 million, those are the guys that are the real scorers for their team, right? They're movers and drivers of offense, and without Trae's offense, this team looks a lot different. I'm not sure how many players it would take exactly to offset his contributions, but I think the Hawks and Trae know, right? They he's best here. They're probably best off with him. If it's not Trae, they probably have to rebuild or something. So um, it'll be or reset their timeline, which there is a bit of a two timeline thing going, maybe 1.5. I don't think Trae's so much older than the other guys. You have to worry about him like aging out, being effective with them. But the Hawks do have to be smart about this, and I think it makes sense to let them all play the season, and let Trae kind of play his way into whatever money he thinks he wants. The Hawks can kind of try to sell him on their vision for what's next. And if they want him to take less, you kind of go get a guy so it makes sense for Trae to take less. But if you're asking him to be the sun and the stars and the moon offensively and really carry the load like he has for all these years, I think you do need to pay that man. So I see it from both sides. For me, as a biased observer, I want the best deal for the Hawks because if it means they're going to try to go get the big Greco-Nigerian man in Milwaukee or Big Nasty in New Orleans, whoever they want to like get to help this team
Get the
win.
nasty part right.
Whoever they want to get, right, gotta sell Trae on it and let them know like we need you to take this so we can do that. Like I think LeBron, right, with the Lakers, he was like, I'll renegotiate my deal if they go get some, but they didn't get anybody, so he like opted in at the end of the cycle. So hopefully they can sell Trae on whatever they need to sell him on and get him to take that 45 flat or so. But I do kind of expect him to want like 50 a year. It's only like $2 million more than he makes next season. It's tough to ask these guys to take pay cuts when they reach that level. But KD did just take that 45 mil, so we have a chance to get him on something that might let us like really push this team forward and really hit the gas. So it'll be interesting to see how it plays out. I really Dyson was the first piece. Now I really need Trae to get locked up so that I can be comfortable with this team for like the next few years, knowing that like they have their guy to lead the way. Yeah.
Trae Young has to prove that he's worth the money that he wants. Obviously, he's a phenomenal player. He always has been since he entered this league, increasing his assists per game every single season he's been in the NBA. He's got an opportunity, a golden opportunity to do it again this year. Am I concerned that he has not signed? Absolutely not, because it's not the same as it was with Dyson, where the deadline was today, or he is restricted free agency. He's still technically got 2 more years left on a deal where he can opt in for next year's deal sometime next summer. I mean, for next year's salary sometime next summer, or he can extend next summer. There's a bunch of ways this can go. I won't be too I'm not pressing any panic buttons until it's this time next year and he doesn't have a contract. This time next year he doesn't have a contract. I'd wonder what happened between today and then. So, um, you know, hey, every excuse that I've made for Trae Young across the past couple years, not having a true stretch big, not having a second guy who can put pressure on the rim, guys who don't get to the free throw line, him having to be the sole proprietor of all the assists on the Atlanta Hawks basketball team.
Nate's gone.
No, I mean, you have a coach, who's innovative offensively, right? And you've got the requisite size around you and the shooting, and the length that we've kind of asked for, as Hawks fans in the past few years. Hawks fans have asked for in the last few years. We said, oh, you need a 7-footer who could block shots and shoot threes. Oh, there's only like 4 or 5 guys in the world who could do that. And they
And we
went and
got
got the
him.
original one.
Yeah,
So
we got him now.
You pair that with Trae and Jalen Johnson, Dyson Daniels, Zachary Richey, and you say, well, you need to get to the rim the same way, but you got to finish better. And hopefully that'll get you in your rhythm and you'll, you know, be more consistent with your 3-point shooting. And I hope he stays healthy throughout the year, really. The Achilles thing last year, I think it really did seem to bother him. And I hope we can see that same burst that he had earlier in his career. And I think that can make him really nasty, get that floater working again, and get into the 45% from the field range. And I think the biggest thing is, like, I need some of these guys. I need teams to be scared to put a smaller defender on the 2s and 3s that we're playing, in Dyson and Zach. Like, I think when you've got guards matched up with Trae Young, and that's what they're trying to do, they're trying to create a situation where, um, the Hawks are trying to create situations where they can get a guard on Trae Young most of the time, or if they have a guard on somebody else, it's a mismatch, and they're going to try to attack those mismatches throughout the season. Um, and that goes into, that'll help the team win, and that'll shine better on Trae Young. I think Trae Young is one of the guys where he hasn't won enough for the national media and casual basketball fans to respect what he is as a basketball player. And that's why you see a lot of the guys saying that he shouldn't get paid. But we understand that the offensive load that he has is as close to as high as anybody else in the league right now. And if he can just improve his raw numbers, of his raw efficiency, his raw shooting numbers, I think that if he gets into the 45% from the field, 37, 38% from 3 range, because he's only taking more threes, and that's going to hurt his field goal percentage if he doesn't shoot those at a high clip. He'll have an opportunity, and you got to win at the end of the day. I think honestly, he's not playing around. He's not playing games, and if Trae doesn't start super duper slow and doesn't turn it, he's gonna have, if he starts super slow, he's gonna have to turn it on and keep it on. He's gonna have to turn it on and keep it on, and it is gonna be on other guys to stay healthy, to keep that onus, that huge onus of the offense off him. I think if the Hawks have a 50-win season, he'll get the max, and we'll be laughing about this.
Yeah.
And that's what the Hawks need to do. They need to win 50 games.
I'm gonna say, like, the contract situation, like, over the past few months has, like, I think been, like, really complicated, because initially I was like, yeah, you should give Trae a max, but now it's like, seeing how the league has started to, like, slowly trend towards bigger players now, or past few months, it's like, if Onzi decides to basically pivots towards like trading Trae, I won't be surprised at all. Like, I could potentially see that next summer as like a completely like different option. They decide to like make Dyson the point guard or something, and I would be like, I would be angry, but I wouldn't be shocked, right? But it really just depends on whether or not Trae can, like, perform this year. And like you said, Leon, like, a lot of the excuses or reasonings that we said like Trae wasn't like super efficient, right, throughout his career, they're basically gone. Like Capella's not here anymore, stuff like that. He has to prove that he can be like a
I
more efficient
mean, hey,
player this
listen,
year.
I saw
Go ahead.
Trey cut to the rim in the preseason from the top of the key,
Yeah.
and I was like, oh, that looks like 30. That looks like 30, but that's just the kind of thing that juices your efficiency, man. Like if you're play finishers shoot better from the field than play creators, generally speaking, unless they're all-time play creators,
Yeah.
right? Because it's easier when you only got one dribble, and you're not carving out all the space that you're using to get your shot off with the ball. So if he could get a lot of the if we can really embrace if he can really embrace what it means to move off ball when
Yeah.
he has the opportunities to do so, and if the other players around him can um incite the kind of gravity that's needed for him to eat off of those kinds of catch and shoot opportunities or cuts to the rim or attacking closeouts, getting to the floater. That's just gonna juice his efficiency and that's gonna help us win games.
Yeah. 100%.
Well, one thing I've said a few times is Trae's numbers don't matter. It's all about the Hawks winning. If the Hawks win, then they will keep Trae. If the Hawks don't win, then they will reset this timeline around Jalen and the others. Now, the one thing I've been thinking about regarding Trae, because the trade Trae for like picks is stupid to me. But if you are trading him at this point, you're in a position to try to upgrade to one of the true top 10 talents in the league. When with his roster slot and some premium picks coming, and you have some pieces and
Here,
Dyson.
okay. Here's my argument, though. I don't think you're gonna get a top 10 player for Trae. He's a
And
small guard.
picks.
They
And
don't they
picks.
they don't value guards for that like that anymore.
And
What I
picks.
For him.
said
Oh, pick.
was,
Go ahead.
I said you had premium pick. Like you're gonna have
Okay,
to
that's true. Yeah.
upgrade from someone. You have to add picks onto it. So if you're going from Trae to a top talent, then you're gonna add premium pick. Like so many people want this 19-year-old to come in. Then that dude ain't winning, bro. He not winning. His name ain't Magic Johnson. But if you go get me a 25-year-old that can win in the NBA, I'm down. Something serious. Like it's you're trying to upgrade. You got something to say? Yeah.
No, I'm just listening to you, brother. I'm just listening to you. Just
Well,
listening to you, Chris. Get it off.
Hey, look, man, all I'm saying is if you plan on trading Trae, you better have a hell of a plan to back that shit up.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like,
But I'm saying if you're
trading
Trae for a top 10 talent, Trae and picks for a top 10 talent and some filler because he's gonna make enough money to bring back that guy.
exactly
Right? If he unless you just but if you bring in that top 10 talent and you kind of retool the pieces around that, like you could have some
Well,
something.
what I'm saying is like I think you kind of have a plug and play for whatever super guard you think you want.
Yeah, I mean, you got
Dyson
two
already
forwards. You got a
and
shooting forward. You got a forward that can play off you, lob threat.
Yeah, he's a playmaker. And then you have the guy in KP who can shoot and block shots. So if you're looking at if you're actually looking to trade him, I'm not looking to restart. But if you are going to move him, then it would be to get better, in my opinion. So Trae Onyeka, some picks for someone legitimate is big. I think there's a guy in Minnesota whose team will not be able to pay him another supermax. And if you're looking at maybe making that move, you got some money. So yeah. There's interesting paths if they're trying to make a move. I don't know if the Atlanta fan base would really want to restart again, but if you are moving off of one of their best players ever, to another star and then using these young guys on these like solid deals, right, to bring in that super contract and be sustainable, then I think there's a path there.
But with that, we're gonna end our trade talk with some final thoughts. Does anyone have any final thoughts before we end this podcast?
First game Wednesday, I'll be at the home opener. You know, if you see my face, come say hey. Why not?
Anyone else have the home opener? No, I'm not gonna be out there.
Me neither.
Nah,
no.
We'll watch at home.
Yeah. Jalen Johnson. Hoping to see that first All-Star appearance this season for Jalen Johnson. I think that he could, if he could reasonably average 25 points a game this year, it would not surprise me. I think that a lot of people have been saying to themselves or looking at this Hawks roster and saying KP is that second option because of the way he scores the basketball, because he is, more kind of obviously he's a great post-up option. He's a really good shooter, but I think that having him on the Hawks roster is more valuable, facilitating easier shots for the other players, whether that be Dyson driving to the rim, Jalen driving to the rim, Trae, Zach, and his passing, Trae's passing along with Kristaps passing, Jalen's passing, Dyson. I think the Hawks have created a roster that is going to be better than the sum of the parts because of how well they work together. And I think that Jalen is going to be one of the key beneficiaries of that in a year where he's obviously ascending. It's the first year of the deal, right? He got the extension last summer, so this is the first year of the deal. This is the first $30 million year. And I think he could be a real 25, 10, and 5 guy, given the reps and some aggression from him. And I think there's just going to be nights where he's going to have to go get it. And I hope that the coaching staff is preaching that to him, because I think he'll have the opportunities, especially against some of these bum teams. Like when we play the Wizards and the Nets, like you need to have 35. Like if it's early in the game and it seems like guys aren't hitting shots, you need to have 35, Jalen Johnson. And that needs to be the mentality moving forward. And I understand we run a system, but you got to have a guy who is willing to assert his dominance physically if we want to win a championship. And I think this team has a chance to make the finals. So go Hawks. Chris, final thoughts?
My final thoughts are that Hawks fans need to be patient with this team at the beginning of the season.
He's anticipating the 0-3 start.
Yeah,
some tough matchups early. Some physical teams that could give a team trying to figure out some things offensively, some issues. And they're teams with guys that can get hot and score. They have enough vets to give you some issues if you stall at all. I'd rather play at least 2 of them around 40 games into the season, not game 2 and 3 in Orlando and OKC. So I just be a little bit patient. It could be a 1-2 start, but I think if this team gets to 3-3, I think you can kind of get to roll from there. But mostly it's about this team being healthy for the long run. Obviously, you can't lose a playoff slot first game of the season or first 3 games, but you don't want to put yourself behind the 8 ball. You really want to, after that first 15, you want to feel good. So I want this team to kind of settle in and get going. Hopefully there's going to be a lot of pressure on them, man. This is a team that has expectations for the first time in a while. And they've got some guys that are like Jalen thinks he's going to be an all-star this year. Dyson just got a big deal. KP's playing for money. Trae's playing for money. Zach is trying to make sure people remember his name. And
Oh,
I
okay.
think
Whatever his name is, Richardson.
I think there's a lot of pressure on him, and I think the fans are probably feeling it too. I know everyone's excited, but that first loss, man, is going to hit like a ton of bricks.
It's gonna hit
So
like a ton of them.
I hope everybody is
These
just a little
people.
Oh my
patient.
God.
It's a long season, man. They're gonna lose at least 35 of these things. So
We're going
around that
82 and 0,
number.
man. Don't say that.
So yeah, be prepared. It's gonna be a fun season though. This is a better team than usual.
Okay. All right. My final thoughts, I guess. Hawks, I'm just gonna look straight in the camera for this. Please don't disappoint me. This feels like the culmination of like the past few years. And it feels like almost like the end of the era. Like during one of the preseason games, I saw it said like Quinn Snyder 4th year, and I was like kind of shocked. It's been like Quinn Snyder has been the coach for literally
They
4
count
years
that
now.
first year as a full year, bro. They count that
Still,
rest year as a shit
still, I don't care. I couldn't believe it. He's been the coach. This
It's
is
low key
technically
like
his
2.5
4th
right
season. I mean,
Seriously.
still, like I couldn't believe he's been here for literally, basically, like 3 or 4 years now. Like
He's been here 2.5 years.
you get the point. At some point, we have to be good. we have to make the playoffs. We have to do something. I am begging you.
I mean, it's an argument. It's an argument.
We can win the
man.
first game.
It's
We
an
can win the
Please
first
be patient
game.
with the Hawks this year.
Like,
I
yeah,
am going to be
you're-
patient.
You're
I'm
already
going to be
dooming
patient.
yourself, man.
I'm not
Like,
dooming myself. I'm going to be patient.
Yeah.
I'm not freaking myself out. I'm giving them 25 games.
25 games is not. That's not even
25 games is all I need.
It's
25
about a
games.
third of the season.
That's a
close
third
to a third
season.
of the, or
Before freaking
close
out.
to a third of the season.
Look, Quinn's team
25
has
games.
some arguments there. That's all I'm gonna say.
25 games. That's all you need. 25 games before I hit the eject button. That's
But
all
we
I
still
need.
could be. What the crazy part is, we still could be winning out of those 25 games. You'll find something to complain about.
Well, you gonna start the
Man,
magic pod
okay.
with me, Ant? If they're not good after 25 games.
You gonna
Well, we'll
find something to
see.
complain about.
We'll see.
E5 and Franz Wag.
We'll see.
I think a lot has been said about Quinn Snyder only having about being below 500 as the head coach of the Hawks. So
Yeah.
as of right now, he's 86 and 99. Right. So, ooh, gosh, what's the total? Was it 259? I'm doing the quick math here, trying to figure out how many, because he could get to 500 this year. He could get to 500.
Yeah, he could.
He could get to 500. Oh, no, that's not it. Ooh, 133.5, 120. Is it somewhere in 50? Let me get my thing. 259. Come on, give me some math. Give me some math. I need half of 259. Where are we? 125, 124.5.
You said half of 259.
Yeah, 124.5. No, 129.5, right? Yeah, nobody.
Yeah, I
I
guess.
wouldn't expect you
They need to go like what, like plus 13 for him to get to 500
Yeah.
on the season.
Yeah. So what's that? 6 games plus? So 48, 49 wins.
Something like that.
Yeah.
48, 49
50
wins.
wins. 50 and
Yeah,
32
so that'd be
is
even
plus
good.
18.
Yeah. That'll get her done. 50 win season, man. 50 wins. I think nobody in the
Let's go.
East. I'm not scared of anybody in the East. I'm not scared of anybody in the East. Well, let me not say that. I think we could beat anybody in the East. The only teams that strike fear into my heart are the physical teams, that being Detroit and Orlando. I think they can beat us up a little bit. I don't really want to see them in the playoffs. I would like that to be a first round matchup, so they'll beat each other up and hopefully lose to whoever they play in the second round, and that team not be us. Or maybe, yes, be us, and we beat one of them in the second round. I think we match up really well with the Knicks and the Cavs, and I'm looking forward to seeing them in the playoffs.
yeah.
Yeah, Orlando will beat you up, so it'll be a physical series.
Yeah.
Indeed.
It will.
And KP gonna get his redemption.
Yes, sir. But with that ends episode 49 of Hard Knock Hawks. We will for the next episode 50. That's crazy, almost 50 episode, guys.
Way to go.
But we will see you then. Make sure to like and subscribe, retweet, whatever you do, you peoples. You'll